Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Farming Valley. Since last episode, I did go ahead and prep up the stuff for starting to run our redstone control. Of course, later on, we're going to add a little bit more options for our redstone control, but right now we're going to do just the basic setup so that we can have things shut off, whenever they get filled. One thing I did forget about whenever I was setting up this building and laying it out, I actually need to shift these walls over by one more. So they need to come over just a little bit more, and then of course I have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to wait till probably after the new year to do that. Just because I'm trying to get as much of this stuff set up. We're not going to need that upper section anytime soon, so I don't think it's any rush at the moment, because I've still got this side I can use. Another thing I did do is I changed over our clay drawer. I had it in a standard drawer. I went ahead and changed it over to a compacting drawer. Just because that way we can store up more clay, and that way we have it in block form and whatnot. So anyways, what we're going to do, I've got Redstone Volume 1s crafted, comparators, bookcases, redstone wire coils, redstone wire connectors, redstone upgrades, some redstone, and cobblestone. And this should be most of the things. I am going to have to shift over this oak trim now that I think about it too. Which that's fine. I've noticed these strip curtains, I may end up pulling those off because I'm noticing they're doing this a lot. A whole lot. So actually, yeah, let me pull off this strip curtain. Is there another, I can't remember, is there another strip curtain back there? No. Okay. I should be running. You'll notice there was a lot of backup there, and that's just the strip curtains at work. I went ahead and removed the ones up at the top of the factory. Forgot there was the one down here. I was wondering why this stuff wasn't really going up. That be the reason as to why, but yeah, I'm gonna have to shift over this oak trim. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it instead of connecting up like that, let me go ahead and just pull this stuff off. We're just gonna have it come over like this, and then it can just connect over. I'm gonna need a little bit more, in fact. That's fine. I pop over to the storage building. That should be enough to offset it. And then what we'll do is we'll just have it connect over more like that instead. There we go. That side's done. And then I just have to hook up the other side. It's very imperative that creepers don't explode on me right now. Okay, so that way I have access to these drawers, because I just need to be able to access them to plug this stuff up. Okay, so what we're going to do is our redstone wire connectors. Let's go ahead, and we're just going to plug these things in to each of our drawers. And I'll have to add more redstone. Actually, I don't need these two. I'm not going to worry about plugging those up right now until I actually have something that goes in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come through and we're going to add redstone upgrades to each of these. Just some redstone upgrades to each of our drawers. And that way they're going to emit redstone based on how full they are. Which clay isn't really going up right now, you'll notice. That's due to the fact that pretty much all the clay that's going through is being turned into bricks. Because right now it's got big buffers it has to fill up, but over time it won't have such... It'll start filling up, so... And then what we're going to do, these are all input. We want to leave them as input. And then let's go ahead and change the color. So this is cobblestone. Then we got stone, gravel. Okay, we'll start with gravel. It's pretty standard for a lot of this stuff. So what we're going to do, gravel is set to white. We're going to leave it as white, actually. And actually this one, you know what? This one we don't have to have it connect first into the redstone wire. No. And this one is sand. We don't have to have this one connect into a redstone wire either. So what we're going to do is we're going to put cobblestone right there. And then, I can't remember, if I put the comparator directly adjacent to the... Yeah, it's still going to emit a redstone signal. Awesome. I was thinking it could feed straight into the comparator, but I wasn't 100% sure on that. So we'll set the comparators up right there, and then we're going to put our bookcases down right next to it, just like we went over before. The way these bookcases work. And we're going to say, let's see, sand and gravel. We want them to get about, we'll say 10. We want them to get up to about 2/3 of the way filled. And that way we have plenty of space left over for things, of course, to trickle down, because using conveyors, it's not instantaneous transfer, and it can take a minute. So it's not going to be able to emit a redstone signal through this comparator until the redstone volume 1's threshold is met. And then what we'll do is we'll just bring our cobblestone out and have that run into some redstone. And then we'll put our redstone wire connectors down right there and right there. Okay. And we're going to have this. Gravel is going to be white. Sand is going to be orange. Sounds good. And then where do we want to have this stuff come out at? Because it is going to have to exit the building, and I'm not for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop up to the factory. And I would like to go ahead and put these redstone connectors down for where they're going to plug up to. So we can go ahead and have that situated, and that way we don't forget our colors. So gravel is white, and right here is where gravel's being produced, right? Through this crusher, cobblestone's getting crushed up and it's making gravel. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take and set our redstone wire connector down right there, and we're going to say that this one, oops, I need that to remain white. Right click it, and we're going to say this is output on this hopper. And then over here, this is where sand is being generated. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on top of this hopper, we're going to say that this one is output and this is the orange line. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and plug these up like so. Of course, we've covered some of the basics of this redstone wire before. And I've got to figure out exactly where I want to run this from. And I think what I'm going to do is have it come out. Let's see. Let's run around to the other side of the factory here. I love seeing all these items just dropping through. I tell you what, I'm probably going to replace the blocks where the stuff goes through, I think. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and plug up this to that. And then we're going to plug up, let's see, this line here is going to come through the wall. And do I want to get... I'm actually thinking about getting the posts. Let me pop over to the storage building. I may have some of those lying around, maybe. You know what? I don't think that I do. So I'll tell you what, I think around the factory, I think I want steel posts. Or aluminum posts. Steel posts. I think steel posts would look better. A little bit more expensive, but in the short term, it's a little bit more expensive. Oh, whenever I was making all that redstone wire, I did go ahead and make a steel plate for wires. Like, I don't know, this thing right here. Metal press mold for wire. I did go ahead and make one of those, so just a heads up. Just made it a whole lot cheaper because you get 2 per ingot instead of 1. We didn't make one before just because I think at the time we didn't have the steel or something, so I didn't make them then. Okay, so there's 7 steel posts for right now. That'll be good. I'm just going to put this stuff in here for right now. Pretty soon we'll be starting, probably in the next year, we'll be starting refined storage, so that's going to definitely help us out a lot. And we'll go ahead and set this first steel post up, like right here. And I'm actually going to run power and redstone through these, but I will say there's going to be more than one redstone line. Because I'm going to have to keep them separate, because there's only 16 colors, and we're going to have a lot more than 16 redstone wires coming up through here, but that's fine. That won't be a problem. Connection is obstructed. Okay. Okay, I just want to get it out. There we go. We'll connect it through that line. That'll be fine. Okay, I just want this stuff coming out through the wall, because there's not... For power, for the factory, we're going to use capacitor banks on the walls and actually have it look like the power's coming out, but there's not anything that works for the redstone like that. So the redstone, we're just going to have it come out the wall like that. But I think it looks better than having an opening, because that looks pretty bad, I think. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're just going to run this up the hill with our posts. And so we'll have another post setting... Actually, I kind of think we should use a wall mount. I don't know if the redstone wire... I can't remember how far it'll transmit, though. It's probably not going to go all the way up the hill. Actually, yes, it will. It'll go all the way up the hill. Okay, do I want a post setting here, or do I want a wall mount? Let's see, steel wall mounts. Oof. I don't have the steel for that. I can make the steel for that, I just don't have the steel for that. Well, there's also aluminum wall mounts, and I wonder if I should use those, because they would actually kind of contrast against the building a little bit better. Oh, and I have to go tomorrow and get water. I don't know if she's open right now. Let me actually run by there and see. Because I really need water. Like, I'm out of it. No, she's not open. She's just closed. Just a minute ago. Okay, so let's pop over to the shipping building. Okay, so we're going to set our wall mount, like, right there. And then right up here. Oh, it's too far now. Okay, let me deal with these guys. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll put the wall mount right there. Well, yeah, I could do that, actually. Because the gray is the cutoff point. So we'll have it setting, no, I want it setting like that. And then we'll put the redstone connection right there and just connect it up. Which I'm going to trim back a little bit of this mountain later on. That's down the road, but... So we'll have it right there, and then what we'll do is we'll grab this connection. I put a wall mount setting right here, and I connected up that. Ran that over like that, and then we grab this connection and run it through the wall to there. Then I can replace that, and yeah, it's like cable coming through the wall. I don't know. That's the worst thing. Like, I can use capacitor banks to make it look like power's coming out of the factory in like an organized manner, but redstone, it's not really a great way. There's not really a great way that we can do it, I don't think. But anyways, that's it. That's all there is to it. So the orange line that we ran up here, it's going to transmit whenever that sand or that gravel gets filled enough. Then these two lines, they're going to activate the redstone and emit it into the hopper and shut off that hopper. So, for example, if I come down to the... Do I happen to have a lever around here? Well, actually, I'll tell you what I can do. Let's pop down to the shipping building. Yeah, there's 52 gravel in there. So if I set this redstone volume 1 to like 1, then we pop up to the factory. And let's go take a look at gravel. You'll notice that gravel is no longer coming out of the hopper. It's backing up in there. So once this gets all the way backed up, it'll have no choice but to send the items into this hopper. So all the gravel will then start creating sand. So those two are set up. There are some that are going to be a little bit more involved than those. But that's for the basic ones like that. That's how we can plug those up. Then I also have cobblestone, which will be a little bit more involved. We'll get to that one in just a second. Stone and glass. Okay, so let me go ahead and kind of block this off just to keep us safe while I'm in here, because we're going to be running a lot of redstone back here. Glass, I'm going to actually pull that up. And, oh no, I can't do that. I won't be able to have a bookcase coming out of it or connected up to it. I'll tell you what I can do. I can run it down like that. Run the redstone down. And then we can set the comparator in, like right here, and then the bookcase next to that. So bookcase setting right there. And then we're going to have to take into account that this one is having to travel. So right now, you know, it's emitting a redstone of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the book back by 1. So once it hits a 9, it'll shut off. That's going to put it at the same point. You know, because it's going to have... It's going to lose 1 redstone power as it travels down that block. So that'll be fine. And then we'll run the redstone out and set up our wire connector right there. And this was the glass line. Yes. So we'll just connect that up, and then we are going to change this to magenta. Magenta is going to be our glass line. And then I can pop up to the factory. Okay, and then for glass, what we're going to do is right here, the sand that comes out of there, we are just going to me jump up here. I love that double jump. Let's set this to magenta line, and then we can just plug that over like that. And, well, the only thing is it's going to affect that hopper right there if I leave it right there. So no, let's, no, give me that stuff back. So instead we'll have the redstone wire connector on this back side here. And we'll set this to magenta output and connect it up. Tell you what, I can probably connect it over to this one. Oh, is gravel full? Let's pop down to the shipping building. Is gravel full already? Or is something wrong? Oh, you know what? It's the bookcase. Okay. Let's see. If I pull... Let me pull that out. So, let's see. What if I put the Redstone Volume 1, we'll put it right there. That'll emit the redstone signal without shutting off that one. So we'll do that. That'll work. And then the gravel shouldn't be shut off anymore. I was wondering why it wasn't outputting. That would be the reason. Now it should be outputting. Yes, it is working. Okay, awesome. Okay, and then we have the stone. And what I'm going to do for that is we're going to have this pull a signal out. And yeah, where do we want to put this? We're going to... Space is going to be really tight, but we can use these sections over here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a redstone wire connector setting like right there. And we're going to pull this out from, well, maybe not right there. Maybe like right there. We're going to pull out the stone connection. It's going to be the white line. And then what we'll do is we'll set up like a redstone wire connector right there. And we'll connect this line over like so. And we're going to set this to output on the white channel. And this is going to be like a separate sub channel that doesn't plug into this main channel. So redstone comes out of there and gives us a reading from that. So right now it's a reading of 1 coming out of the stone drawer. And then that feeds into a comparator. And then once again we have bookcase setting right there. Redstone volume 1 is going to be setting right there. And then from there that feeds out into a redstone wire connector, which is going to be set to input, and we're going to set it to light blue. Light blue is going to be our stone line, and then we'll just connect that up to the line going up to the factory. Okay, so stone is coming in on the light blue. And then up to the factory. This is going to be... It's basically just a lot of like little subsystems that have to be set up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have... see, do I just want to put the... I guess we'll just put the redstone wire connector... Oof. Do I want to put that there? Or do I want to make it look a little bit nicer? Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put redstone wire connector, just so it looks a little bit nicer. And then we're going to say light blue output, and then we just have to plug all this stuff up. So there, and then how are we gonna plug this up? Let's see. Okay, I can connect it over to there. Okay, there we go. We'll do it like that. So cables going everywhere. Of course, so these power cables are going to get moved. They're going to get cleaned up. Because basically I don't want cables... I mean, really it's not... Those aren't too bad. That's a visual bug. Sometimes that happens. They aren't too bad as long as they're not obstructing the walkways. I mean, I don't mind cables going above the conveyors. I just don't want them, like, swinging through walkways at, like ground level and stuff like that. Like, that's a no-no. But I think... it running along atop the conveyors, that's fine. That's a-okay. I still wish I had a better way to run this stuff through the wall. Like something that I could pump the redstone in and it actually transfer the data. You know, I can, of course I can have redstone come through a block, but I need to transfer all 16 colors of data through the wall, which I can't really do that. And I forgot to go get water yesterday. I'm just busy working and it slips my mind. Which it looks like stone's actually kind of building up there. Bit by bit. So what's going to happen is once the threshold for stone gets filled, it's going to shut off those hoppers that are feeding the stuff out from the furnaces. So then it's going to, you know, it's going to back up the furnace, it's going to back up the hopper, and then from there, all the cobblestone is going to go right over the tops of those and get sent off to wherever it's going. Okay, before we hit cobblestone, though, I want to get clay and bricks set up, which we'll set that up in just a moment. But I do want to cover one thing. These hoppers right here, these are going to get redstone control. So, like, the one that's sending, like, right now we have it set up so that if gravel fills up, it stops dumping it out here. But, like, if sand fills up, for example, it doesn't stop sending gravel from this side to making sand. We're going to tackle that as well. So, just a heads up. That's just going to be after we get the rest of this stuff set up. So back down to the shipping building. Let's go ahead and plug up clay and bricks real quick, because that's the last of our cobblestone-based materials right now. So clay and bricks. And technically glass bottles too. So in this case, I'm going to have to ship all of these down. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that clay, this is going to be yellow. Bricks are going to be lime. Glass bottles are going to be pink. Okay. And then let's go ahead and see. I guess we'll go down to this side here. This will be fine. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and just put, I'm going to go ahead and plug all that stuff up. And then, I mean, it's pretty much a standard setup. I do need to move these bookcases up by one. So a bookcase will set there, redstone, then we'll have this come out, go into the comparator right there, then redstone come out, and then all we have to do is then set up our permanent lines. So redstone wire connector, connect those two up, and then make sure that these lines don't touch, of course, because this is a separate line than these. I know it's like a confusing mess back here, but it's part of it. So we'll put a line right there, and then it's just going to plug straight over to there. That'd be fine. So it's going to be able to send its channels up. So we've got clay and bricks. Which one is which? Because I can't remember. Clay is yellow and bricks is lime. I'm not going to worry about the glass bottles right this second. I'll have to go get water too today. So let me pop on down there and do that real quick. Okay, we've got 199 bottles of water now. And by the way, we are going to be doing a water setup fairly soon. Fairly soonish. Which is going to make water a bit easier too, but not just yet. And I was just editing the footage, and I was doing a little bit of thinking, and I tell you what, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do it right now because I kind of want to just get the baseline of this stuff set up, and then we can make some little alterations later on. That's stone. I'm just going to leave it there. It's something I threw down. But this redstone wire, the way we have this set up, I'm actually going to change this. Instead of having it come up the mountain, I'm actually going to go underground. I was kind of wanting some wires running up, but those redstone wires, I don't have an effective way to move them inside of the base. So I am going to run them up under the bottom, I think, like underground. Coming from, you know, go underground from that building, and then come up under the mountain, and then come up. Which, I've got to dig out, between episodes, I've actually got to dig out a fairly large little chamber underneath that building. Because we're going to, next episode, we're going to be continuing on with the redstone stuff. We're not going to get all of it done this episode. But we have to do a bunch of AND gates. That was terrifying. And I know I'll have this comment if I don't mention it. I know I've mentioned it before in this pack. We do have the, oh, what's the mod called? Super Circuit Maker. That's what it's called. We do have that in the pack. So you can run a lot of this redstone with Super Circuit Maker if you like that mod. I don't personally like that mod, and I'm not going to be using it for this stuff. You could make it a little bit more compact if you want, but like I mentioned before, I've had bugs with that in the past, And I played so much vanilla, I really don't mind doing vanilla redstone. I quite enjoy it. Look at all those creepers. What's with all the creepers? So I'm just going to be doing an underground chamber, but you could do super circuit maker for like the AND gates that we'll be doing next episode. But whenever we run that stuff underground, it'll probably be next year before I dig out the chamber underground and run the circuits under the ground. It'll be easy to change it over because all we got to do is clip off the outside, the exterior parts, and then just run the cables down through and then connect them up to whatever. You know, it's all one channel, so it's not, you know, it doesn't matter if I clip that off and just plug it up in here. That's fine. So anyways, the clay and the bricks, right? Let's see, we're not doing the AND gate stuff this episode, so all we're going to do for the clay and bricks, I think, at the moment, because most of it's going to be that right there. We're going to have an AND gate right there. So I think what we'll do, like on that one, so if bricks and clay are filled, you know, it's not going to send any more sand this way. That's where a lot of the really like detailed part of the redstone setup is going to be. For this though, for right now, all we're going to do is we're going to put a wire connector right there. And let's connect that. And then I'm going to jump up here like this. I'm going to put a wire connector right there. And we're just going to connect it over. Then that wire connector is going to connect down to like right there. Okay, and then what was my brick color? Okay, bricks was lime. I'm not going to do the glass bottles right now either until I'll set that up once we automate steel. Or automate creosote and coal coke. So this is going to be something that we kind of build upon as we go, bit by bit. There's a lot to this, if you couldn't tell. Like, this is just the very basics of what we're going to be doing with this. And it actually takes a while to work through all this because I've got to like check all the colors and make sure everything's just right. Okay, so lime line. And so once the bricks get filled up to our threshold, then it's going to shut this hopper off and everything's going to back up, causing all the clay to just go over the top of this. Now, in addition, well, we'll do the clay later because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to end up putting an item router right here instead of a dropping conveyor, I think. And then there's going to be a hopper here that feeds out. And whenever this hopper is filled, like if it gets turned off from the clay being full, yeah, it's going to be a bunch of AND gate stuff. So what we'll do is we'll have a hopper setting here, and then we're going to have it read the hopper that's down here. And so if the clay is filled and this hopper down here is filled, then that hopper there is going to shut off. It's basically what I'm thinking. So, but I may actually shift this setup a little bit. Before we set up the AND gate stuff, we'll see. Because I do kind of want to move these furnaces over now that all that clutter in the middle is gone. But, yeah. It's a starting point. There's so much to this, and I've got to kind of work on it bit by bit, you know. Kind of like how we did. We set up all this stuff, and then we got rid of it and moved it. It's kind of a process here. Okay, and then back down to the shipping building, and we're going to set up the first stage of our cobblestone. Now there is going to be a large AND gate setup that we're going to be working on next episode, because cobblestone's a little bit tricky, because like a lot of this stuff like bricks, you know, we're not making anything else with bricks. But when it comes, or at least not right now, I guess we could eventually do like flower pots just to do it, but I doubt we will. But like cobblestone produces gravel, sand, clay, bricks, glass, stone, cobblestone, and then also the glass bottles. So we're going to have to, and glass bottles are a little bit different because we're going to have to read to make sure our creosote ovens have glass bottles as well as the storage building, and have that go through an AND gate and say, okay, you need to make glass bottles or you don't need to make glass bottles. But cobblestone's going to have to go through a multiple AND gate system to check and make sure that everything's filled. You know, gravel needs to be at its threshold. Sand, cobblestone, clay, bricks, all that stuff needs to be at its threshold before cobblestone actually shuts off. So it's going to be a fairly large little AND gate system. That's why I'm going to build a little subfloor underneath this for a lot of that bigger redstone. This is just the basics. I know it's like a total mess, but it's, for me, it's an organized mess. Like, I know what's going on, and it's all going to be, you're not going to see this stuff, so. Okay, so the cobblestone, this is our cobblestone lineup here. And so what we're going to do, let's go ahead and Well, I guess we'll change this over to like orange, and we're going to run it up to this line. And remember, this is a separate connection from our main connection. Okay, this is just running cables down. And then we'll put a redstone wire connector right there. And then we'll set this one to orange output and just connect that over there. And then comparator feeding out of that. Or not comparator, I'm sorry. Redstone and then comparator. And then what we'll do is bookcase setting. I can't set these in the same block space, can I? No. I didn't think they were micro blocks, but wasn't for sure. Okay, then cobblestone, we want it to be set to a 10 as well. So it has to be a 10 for it to emit redstone out of the comparator. And then all we have to do is redstone and this. And see, that's all plugged up. Okay, good. Oh yeah, I gotta change the bricks to the lime green. I didn't do that, but I'll change that in just a second. And we are going to set this to yellow, lime, pink. Yeah, we haven't used pink yet. Oh yeah, we did. We used pink right there. So this is gonna be gray. Cobblestone's gonna be gray, which is kind of fitting actually. And we'll connect that up to that line. Oh yeah, I did change this over. My bad. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so cobblestone comes up right here. And so what I'm going to do is I've got to set up a hopper that controls the cobblestone flow for the cobblestone coming into up here. So what we're going to do is let me get an item collector, which I should have some. I'm going to need an item collector and a hopper. That and that. And the wood farm, we're not setting up the wood farm right now because the wood farm is going to be a bit different. It's going to be a bit more involved as well, so which is always fun. Let's see, that's yellow side. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's pull this up, and let's put an item collector right there. Okay, so this item collector, what we're going to do is we're going to say that the top, which is white, can accept cobblestone, and then we're going to put a hopper right there that feeds over onto that conveyor. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and say that the yellow side can also accept charcoal, cobblestone, saplings, and then the oak wood, the apples, and then sand. That side can collect everything, so cobblestone's still going to get filtered out to these two. But what it's going to do is it's going to, the cobble that actually goes up on this, I'm actually going to remove cobble from this list here. So cobble's no longer coming out through where the wood farm stuff is going. And instead, cobble's getting pumped out into this hopper, is what we're doing. So, and that I just had because I had some clay in there. So yeah, just tree farm based products can come out the top here. And then these two cobble setups are for feeding over for the smooth stone and the rest of the cobble gen stuff. So, and then what we're going to do, we're going to put a redstone wire connector, of course, right on top of that. And we'll just change this over to our gray line, and we'll say outputs, and then we'll just connect this up like that, and there we go. Now whenever cobblestone gets filled up, it's going to stop sending cobblestone down there, and it's going to focus all of the cobblestone that's being produced into the cobbleworks. Now we do have to set up, like I said, we have to do AND gates and a little bit more detailed redstone control, because like, which we'll tackle that stuff next episode because I know it's fairly close to wrapping up point at the moment. But right now, yeah, if gravel down there fills up, then it's going to stop sending gravel down there. But we need to make it so that if, you know, if glass gets filled up, then it's going to stop sending sand over there to make glass. But we need to set it up so that if, you know, if glass and clay and bricks and glass bottles all are filled, then it's going to stop sending any gravel over here to make sand. You know, we've got to do some of the fine-tuned stuff, but like the basics are in place now. Like the bare bones basics. Hey, there's one of my conveyor belts. I need that actually. Or I would like to have that. That's the bare bones of it. But like I said, I am going to change up the redstone wiring to make it a little bit cleaner by running it underneath the ground. The power is going to be fine because it's going to look nice, because what we're going to have is it coming through with the capacitors, and I think it's going to look pretty good. But that redstone, there's nothing like that that I can do to clean that little system up a whole lot. So running it under the floor is like the best option, I think, at the moment. So anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. Next episode is going to be Redstone Control Part 2. And we're going to be doing the AND gates and stuff. I'm going to dig out a little chamber underneath the shipping building for some of our, some of our larger setups. AND gates in vanilla Minecraft, they're super easy to do. Yeah, they're not as compact as if we were to go with Super Circuit Maker, but Super Circuit Maker tends to be a bit buggy in my experience. It just acting up and the redstone kind of like shutting off and not chunk loading correctly, and visual bugs like screen tearing, all kinds of stuff that I've had. Maybe I just played around with it too much when it was early, but honestly, I enjoy the vanilla redstone, so we're going to go with that. We are going to go with that. So, but we'll get into that stuff. I mean, it's even still, vanilla AND gates aren't that big. They're like, what, 3 wide, plus some torches hanging off. I mean, they're not that big, all things considered. So, I'm ready to get back into some more redstone, and it's going to be, today was the basics. Next episode's a little bit more advanced. Down the road, when we get into the really elaborate stuff, like the levers and stuff like that, it's going to be even more so advanced, but we'll get into a little bit more fun stuff next episode. And I'm hoping that we'll get all that stuff sorted and still have time for like just a little bit of building before the end of the year. I just want to make sure that redstone control's there, because we're going to have this running while we do other stuff, and I want to make sure that it's not just like backing stuff up and making a big old mess. That's a lot of clay. I'm probably going to pull out some of that. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.